gonna start with the physical overview and we'll talk a little bit about the build quality too. The body is built from high-grade polycarbonate. The surface is matte with a soft touch finish on the inside. It stays relatively free from fingerprints. The top lid has a very minimal flex. Here's a quick comparison with my old laptop, which had a metal upper lid. A very slight amount of flex to the keyboard, nothing to worry about. There's Lenovo branding on the outside as well as on the inside. Then there's the Legion branding. This logo doesn't light up, but it reacts to light hitting from different angles. The rest of the design is quite minimal and industrial. The body feels well put together and doesn't sound hollow. This is how the back panel looks. There's rubber padding on the corners, 2 air intake vents. The 2 bottom firing speakers are present here. Now this hinge is something I'm not a big fan of. Firstly, it is very easy to bend. Whenever I try to replace the laptop, the display shifts, which is a bit annoying. Then it's kind of weak in the center. I'm not really sure about its long-term durability, especially with rough usage. The port selection as well as the placement both are excellent. There are USB 3.0 ports on either side and a headphone mic combo jack on the left. The rest of the ports are present on the back side, which is clever as it helps keep your desk neat and tidy. The first one is the Ethernet port, a USB Type-C port, not Thunderbolt, and cannot be used for charging, which is a bummer. Another 2 USB 3.0 ports next to it, an HDMI 2.0, and then the charging port, which is proprietary, not the regular barrel type, then a charging indicator, and lastly a Kensington lock. The keyboard here is surprisingly good. It's very close to the ThinkPad keyboards. There is a dedicated numpad, full-sized arrow keys. There's a decent amount of key travel. I enjoy tapping on this keyboard. There's single-colored white backlight with 2 levels of brightness. Can be set using function plus spacebar combination. So no RGB, but you can always use an external keyboard. One thing worth mentioning is that the caps lock and numlock keys are individually lit. Different power modes can be triggered using the function plus Q shortcut, and the power button changes colors indicating the current power mode. There's a function lock shortcut for using the function keys directly. The keypad has a matte finish. The left and right buttons are embedded below it. I like to have dedicated buttons, but I'm just nitpicking. Performs window gestures very well. Now let's talk about the display. It's a Full HD 15.6 inch IPS panel with 250 nits of brightness and 45% NTSC color gamut coverage, which is what we get in this price range, but I've been using the slightly better screen previously, and yes, I could certainly notice a difference. The colors look very washed out of the box. I tried altering the color profiles in the AMD Radeon software, which helped to a certain extent, but the problem with that approach is that the software itself gets deactivated once you turn off the hybrid mode, which disables the integrated AMD graphics in order to get better gaming performance. I will explain the hybrid mode in the performance section. I also tried the NVIDIA control panel for the same purpose, but couldn't achieve the same effect. The brightness is a major concern, however. It's barely usable in the outdoors, but even in the indoor conditions, it's a bit problematic, especially watching dark content. Because this panel gets dimmer way quicker than it needs to be, I have to use it at maximum brightness most of the time and have to keep the windows covered. IPS panels are known to have screen blade issues, but fortunately my unit is free from such problems. I have included some pictures as I found they portrayed the situation more accurately than a video sample. Coming to the performance, this unit is powered by the AMD Ryzen 5 4600H hexa-core processor. I have included the Cinebench R23 benchmark scores. The GPU is a GTX 1650 in this variant, which performs very close to a 1650 Ti. Thanks to the MUX switch included in the Lenovo Vantage software, it's named as a hybrid mode and provides better performance since it disables Optimus. Here I have provided the average FPS which I got from the games I have tested so far. I've been gaming on this thing from past 2 months and it didn't disappoint until recently. I've observed a lot of stuttering issues in most of the games since past few days and I couldn't find the culprit. Then I found my RAM usage to be unusually high and I decided to use a dual channel RAM module which solved the problem, but I was unable to figure out why it happened out of nowhere. If you're looking for gameplay, check out these videos and the list will be constantly updated as I test more games. The thermals are just amazing. There are 4 air intake vents, 2 on the back, 2 on the bottom, and 2 air outflow vents on the sides. The CPU temperatures mostly fluctuate in the range of 70 to 80 degrees and the GPU around 60 to 70 degrees Celsius at room temperature around 25 degrees. The device stays relatively cool to touch even after prolonged usage. My unit has a 60 watt-hour battery. I get around 4 to 5 hours with light usage like web browsing and video streaming. However, it dips down to just an hour or two while using heavier applications like Adobe Premiere Pro. And there's a couple of extras you get, namely the conservative mode, which limits the charging capacity to 60% as to increase the battery lifespan. And the second one is the rapid charge, which is some sort of fast charging. It takes just shy of 2 hours to charge it completely while rapid mode is turned on, and 2.5 hours with normal charging. The power brick is a 170 watt unit and it weighs around 380 grams. The laptop weighs around 2.3 kilos. This webcam is just straight up crash, just like every other Windows laptop, but there is one very cool feature. There is a privacy shutter. You can just slide it on and forget about its existence and live in peace. As for the upgrade options, there's an empty RAM slot and it can be expanded up to 32 gigabytes. There's an empty M.2 slot, but you have to remove the 2.5-inch SATA drive in order to utilize it. On connectivity front, there's Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5, so no complaints there. The speakers are decent, nothing to write home about. I've noticed they sound louder while gaming than music or video playback somehow. So I made this review to let you know about the potential drawbacks of this laptop, which are only apparent after long-term usage. On a side note, I think it's high time for manufacturers to provide better displays because these devices are not really cheap, even though categorized as budget. Not very long ago, smartphones had terrible panels in the budget range, but it changed considerably over the past few years just because the consumers demanded it. In my opinion, the laptop industry needs a similar kind of push. Share this if you agree. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel and also leave a thumbs up to let the algorithm know that this is good content so that I could bring more videos like this to you. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.